Hey guys, this is Luke with Dad Life Chess. Tonight I am going to jump in for a training game here on chess.com. I have a couple games from, I guess, the last 2 weeks of the chess club that I'd like to get to eventually for a game review, but I haven't had a chance to look at them yet, and I've gone a few days here without recording a video, so I want to do a training game instead tonight, and then maybe I'll have some time later to do a game review on one of those games. One is a loss, and then a win from this last week that also was a lot of fun. So we'll put those on hold for now and see what we can get here. So I'm playing 2-4 Derode, 1814 player. All right, so we have the open H file. Not useful yet, but it might be later. My opponent's most likely castling queenside here. Also could be thinking about this push here. Just wondering if I should jump my knight in here. Takes. Hmm. Let's just go here. He probably will play this, either that or queenside castles. I've played these positions quite a bit with the Linden, and often there's an attack down on the king side here. It just depends on. All right, push. His knight's not there anymore. Takes. Could even take with the queen here. Then I'm on this. Huh. Let's do that. Maybe it's not good. Maybe he pushes anyway. He probably should. I'm going to take here because I don't want to. I didn't want to have the immediate knight back, and my queen is under attack there on e4. So at least here, I think I can get the bishop pair. Maybe put some pressure even immediately on. Oh wow, that doesn't seem right. Maybe he meant to take with the queen. I mean king, or sorry, queen. Either way, that's oh wow, that's not. That's not going to work. I can only think that maybe he meant to take with the queen. It still puts him in a pin, but um, it's a little bit less awkward. Here, I think there's nothing. I mean, already he's going to lose the knight, or let's see, have a check here, and then takes. This, wow, that's just awful position. I think this rook is essentially trapped. Can't go anywhere. His king still can't get out here to connect his rooks, and even then it would be could be pretty awkward for him. Even if he could get it out, still you're going to lose the rook. Just trying to see if there's something better here. I'm looking at possibly. mean, I can win. Yeah, it's got to be better to win the queen. All right. So quick. My opponent wants a rematch, and then left. So I guess kind of a quick game here. 20 moves. Yes, let me look over it here. We won't take a lot of time on this one tonight, probably, but so in the London, I think there are obviously multiple moves here you could even take. That's obviously fine. I generally back up to G3, and I try to use the H file at some point in the game. I don't know my theory too well, but I'm pretty sure it's not as common to pin here if the bishop can simply unpin that piece. If the bishop is outside the chain, it's a lot more dangerous to to pin even get the queen out to b3. So I think this is all pretty normal. Yeah, and so this pawn push, I'm trying to figure out what the threat is. I mean, maybe he's feeling like there's pressure here on h7, and so he's trying to blunt that bishop and prevent that from being an issue. But I'm not threatening that yet. I mean, his knight's still covering that square, so it doesn't feel like that move is necessary. It feels like the move you play next, which I see quite a bit, queen e7, and then preparing to castle queenside is probably fine. We can look at the engine and see if this move was already a mistake or an accuracy. I just don't see any other reason. And maybe he's preparing to move the knight. Maybe he wants to move the knight. No, because you move it here, and then obviously it's no longer threatening on h7. So yeah, I can't see anything here. Queen e7 is normally what happens in these positions. Normally, I think this pawn is back on g7, but this is pretty common. And then a lot of times what happens is you have castles queenside. So imagine rook d2, castles queenside, and then if you castle kingside here, it's a game. I'll just put it that way. The goal, kind of, I guess, in the ideal world, is to maneuver your knight here, and this move is not really possible after castles queenside because this move comes with check, and yeah, and there's just a lot of pressure here on the queen side. But I've also played games where this pawn comes really fast, and with his queen, and knight and bishop all barreling down this side, it can be a difficult game. I've lost many games with that. This will be the second move that I think I just didn't understand. So g6, I didn't really understand, and then this move, except for I guess I would say maybe he was preparing for e5, which is what I mentioned in the game. Yeah, I think that's probably what it was. So when I played here, when I play e4, I think he probably should just play e5. Takes. No, it doesn't work, does it? His knight is awkwardly placed. We'll have to look at that. I'll see at this exchange here. I feel like there was probably something better for him. So here I was thinking about taking with the queen, putting pressure here, but then I realized that he'll probably just drop right back, in which case my queen is going to have to move again. So instead I took with the knight, hoping to get my knight in here. And again, I mentioned earlier that this kind of move can be really awkward after the king castles queenside, because these checks come in and then the knight can jump in here, even protected by the bishop on a6. So I was thinking about getting my knight over there, which actually did end up happening in the game. He plays f5 here. So the king hasn't castled yet, so this move doesn't really work yet. Um, but with the king still in the center, I just felt like getting rid of this bishop and then being able to pin. So yeah, I think this, I don't know, this is a mouse slip, or maybe the position is just already lost here, no matter how you take. But I expected queen takes. And then the pin, he's got to keep his knight here, because he's got to be able to take here when I bring my knight into e5. So this is not, I don't think it's immediately lost. Like, I'm thinking something like, let's see, how would I prepare this? So queen takes. Maybe I just castle. And just slowly maneuver. He's pinned. I was thinking he could probably move here to try to get out of that pin. And then if I try to exploit it right away, I don't think it works, because if I bring my knight in here, then he can just take with his knight. So we'll look at that and see. But I think this was definitely a mistake, because yeah, there's just no easy way to avoid issues with that pin. I'm already, I can threaten here, I can get my knight here and put a lot of pressure on this pin. I would say probably immediately he needs to play this. Oh, he can't. I can even just take. That is awkward. Let me see what his best move is. I would guess it's probably already lost. Maybe even d5 is possible. Takes. He can't take with the knight because it's still pinned, so you have to take with his king, and then I win this piece here. So I think even d5 is probably possible here, even without making any other moves. But this looks really awful. Like and this move is, you can't play this. As I mentioned, you have to protect e5 with this pin in effect. So backing up the knight here, I'm not even sure what he was doing there. It was defended on g4, so there's no real reason to back it up. But in doing so, he just walked right into this move. Moves the rook here, and these are all pretty forced, I think. Here. Oh, yeah, and then in the game, I paused here. I was going to just take the rook, and then I noticed, when I looked at it, I knew I was winning here, obviously, but I almost overlooked the fact that I had this the fork on c6, which is obviously completely winning. And so at this point, yeah, yes, check. It's just looks really ugly. I mean, not what the actual valuation would be, but I understand why you would resign here. So let's take a look at some of those key points and see if there's anything to be learned. I did notice here that I had 0 mistakes and 0 blunders, I believe. So yeah, wow, pretty decent game. Of course, my opponent kind of made it easy for me, but these 2 mistakes, we'll see where those are, but those were probably at the point there in the middle game. Yeah, 0 inaccuracy, 0 mistakes, 0 blunders, so pretty easy win. Let's take a look at the analysis here. All right, takes, knight c6, c3, bishop d7, bishop d3. Yeah, so g6, it's not a mistake. It's just a good move. It gives me maybe a slightly better position. Let's see what the computer recommends. Yeah, e7. So I mentioned this earlier. e7 is the most natural move here. And the idea is, so yeah, let's see. They're saying 95. I think I normally played here. I have played here in the past. And then let's say we have something like this. Oh, inaccuracy because of b4. Wow, just because of the pressure. Maybe this reveals how bad blitz is and bullet is for your just your knowledge of the openings you play, because this is really, really common. I mean, I've had this happen in many games. I guess this is probably just reveals that I didn't play them very well, but this kind of situation, like here, and then all these are inaccuracies, but I'm just laying out kind of what I've seen happen here in these games is you do some kind of, basically you have queenside pawns attacking the black king and kingside pawns attacking the white king, and those are probably a little premature. Let's see what they're saying. E5, yeah, let's break here with my king still in the center. And I mentioned that move in the game. That's probably the move that you're going for when you move your queen to E7. Yeah, so he does eventually get there. Let's go back to the game. G6, Queen E2, Queen E7, Knight BD2, and then E5. Yeah, so already the computer's recommending this E5 move, which is pretty much what you're looking to get into. And I think I've played this a lot of times. Wow, I'm learning here. Okay, so that is how I've always played it. And they're saying that this is an inaccuracy. I probably should pause here and learn from this. So why is that a problem? Takes. I mean, I guess the game's still roughly even, but this is very, very common. Instead, they're saying when this move is played, I should play bishop b5, pin this knight. So if he pushes here, take. I'm taking with check. I was worried about this takes because I thought being on my queen it would be an issue, but I can take with check here, so that's not a problem. So instead of that, let's say he should play knight g4. Okay, so this move is something to be played. I guess maybe looking to even push and add more pressure here to the position. Plus, it's defending this pawn again with another piece. So apparently, I haven't been playing that entirely correctly, but yeah, my opponent didn't play. He played this knight g4 move early, and then I broke with e4, which is looks like a good move. Knight takes was correct. That's interesting. Even in this position right here, they're still recommending e5. The point is, like, this move is kind of like the key move for my opponent in this position. I think that makes sense because it's why you play the queen e7 move, is to try to get pressure down this file. But he kept missing it. So he plays here. I take, bishop out. A6 is the best move. I mentioned that when I was going over the game. Obviously, if he plays a6, I think I could just take that, yeah. But now it gives my opponent a chance to play queen d6 and defend this piece without tempo coming immediately. This is still, I mean, you can see +4 though. I mean, it's still really an awful position to have to deal with if you're black, but that would have been best. Instead, he played knight f6, which was definitely a mistake. And I mentioned, I think the obvious is that we're playing check here, winning the piece. Bishop takes, queen a6 check. All right, looks like I didn't play this entirely accurately. What's the best move here? Bishop b5. Bishop b5, just threatening that same fork that I mentioned earlier. Is there no way to get around that? Wow, that is a fascinating position. There's no way for my opponent to stop that. They're suggesting h5 as the best move here, inviting the fork. So, Okay, let me think through this. Why are there no options here? This obviously doesn't work. You can still just take with check. Why can't we defend? Let's say, you can't go here. Queen can't go to d6 because the same fork happens here. Wow, that is just a terrible position. These two pieces just take all the squares away from the king, so this king has nowhere to go, and the fork's coming on c6 with no way for the queen to stop it or any other piece. Wow. So instead of playing that, I took the pawn. He moves the rook. This is accomplishing the same thing. The only difference is that now technically, I think he could move his king and at least avoid losing his queen. Move his king and avoid losing his queen now. But they're actually saying c6 is the best move. Okay. c6, pinning my bishop to my queen. I can't take the rook as I'd want to because then I lose my queen on a7. So c6 would have been a better move. Even queen d7. Excuse me, queen d7. Wait, how can that be right? I mean, it's plus 12, like it's already losing. Obviously, there's just no good moves here, but that's a pitiful move to have to look at. c6, c5, queen d7 are the moves coming up for my opponent. But that was not the move we were looking for. Takes, rook. And then, yeah, rook xh7 check. So there really is no way to continue here. You want to stay off the back rank, otherwise you're going to lose another rook. So, yeah, d6. But this is, plus 22 at this point, so not something that you really would play on with. So, interesting. I think I obviously won the game, but I think I was not prepared as I should have been for this continuation and going into the middle game here. So this is all fine. That's my opponent's first mistake, and I played it fine playing e4. But I think what I learned most from this game is that I need to do some work on what I should play if my opponent plays e5 in this position, because I know I've had this before. My opponent's threatening e4, forking these two pieces. So I have to do something. I think in the past I've just taken, and that's an inaccuracy. I mean, it's not a massive. My opponent's not, winning material or anything, but that is not the right way to play it. So I need to look at this a little more carefully and just kind of figure out how I want to approach this. So bishop b5, knight g4, bishop takes, and then we take here. It doesn't feel that much different. Yeah, I mean, I'm in the other line that I mentioned, this is exactly the move that I play. So, yeah, it's still roughly even, but apparently taking there is not the best move. I just don't know why that makes a difference. So e4 coming, taking here, takes. What's different with this position? The knights are still on the board. Oh no, sorry, instead of the knight being taken here next with this bishop taking back, the knight's over here. So I guess there's an extra piece on the board because I haven't traded them off. After he moves his queen back, which is the same move that was made in the other line. Castle's kingside. This doesn't look that much different. Computer's giving a slight edge to black here, and I think probably maybe in the other position because this bishop had to take on c6. So a little bit of a little bit more uncoordinated because they can't immediately play c5 or get these pawns rolling here. So maybe that's why it takes an extra move to kind of unwind on the queen side. That could be it. Maybe the extra pieces on the board allows black to take advantage of something here with e4. I mean, he can jump in now, and I really don't think I want to take that, lose the bishop pair, and this pawn is just really annoying to work with. I mean, there's not anywhere to go where my rook is not going to be, where my knight is not going to be pressured a lot. And again, this move in that situation, this c5 move was not possible if his bishop is on c6. So that might be it. I'm not sure. I will take a look at that. Probably the big takeaway for me is I need to look at those lines and be a little more clear on what I need to do if that e5 move comes. But overall, I'm happy with the game. Obviously, it's nice to get the win. I'm up to 18-18 now, so marching my way up to trying to get to 1900 is my goal here, and my next big goal. And these games have really been helpful for me. I had a really great time at the chess club last week, just playing some games, and won a couple games that night. And I feel like it's helped to sit down and play some of these longer games on chess.com. Full disclosure, I did spend too much time today playing Bullet. I was hanging out with Joel today, and he was watching some games on my phone that I was playing on Lichess. I think I started the day around 1900, dropped down to 1840, and then ended the day back up at 1916. So it looks like an even day at the end of the day, but those games are just for the fun of it. There really is no reason to be playing those. No real value there, but they're just fun to play. So these games certainly have more value than those, and I've definitely seen that even in my over-the-board games. So anyway, thanks for watching. We'll be back soon with another game, and maybe try to cut back on the bullet between now and the next game and see if we can stay focused on playing better chess. So have a good one. Thanks, guys.